have the world of Malefics today. We also have Malice, and of course, is that an evolution with Dark Magician? Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more. I was going to talk about one of the coolest Malefic list that I've seen. And honestly, this duelist, they didn't do the greatest in their tournament, but they were taking off wins from decks, which means ideally there is a discussion to be had with expanding out the Centurion stuff and actually using the Malefic cards to actually build a board. And this is what we wanted, right? We all wanted Malefic to be kind of a casual little defender of the meta, and that's exactly what I got here. I'm kind of hoping that, somewhere along the way, somebody will take this list, pick it up, and kind of evolve it to the times. And I think the Centurion stuff just works beautifully with the Malefic cards. The whole point of the deck is you're just going to make very big Synchro Monster, Unga Bunga, and then you just kind of roll it, and it works out. But this needs slightly tweaked, but awesome. Next up was Malice. Malice has been doing some great things within the OCG. When you take away only one of their link monsters, the one that genuinely does the banishing, is still going to act up and give the deck something good versus the TCG where, we got the other one in the divorce, which is working out pretty good for us. You do see we are playing the new Cyverse monster ritual in the deck. It is a very strong assister for what this deck wants to work with, and I think that's good. You've also got triple the Dominus in here. Yeah, it's almost like playing 5 Dominus cards within the deck. Just ends up being such a crazy monster for this. I do see we've also got triple of the Spell Negate, one of the Monster Negate for the Psyframes. Psyframe package has been picking up a lot of steam in the OCG, and I'm honestly kind of impressed how good the Psyframe stuff is working. Next up here, we have probably one of my favorite lists out of the weekend where we're able to use Apex Fusion, the Dark Magical Curtain, to bring out a Dark Magician to set up the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. We have my favorite hero in here acting as the super poly target. This list, I think, was one of my favorite decks to kind of come out of the weekend and really showcase some of the fun that you are able to work with in terms of the meta developments and so forth. And obviously, yes, they still have gimmick puppet stuff. Truthfully, we've already put this together and we've got it on tabletop. We built the TCG version of this with the Dark Magical Curtain. Curtain being able to be triggered during draw phase so you can avoid getting drolled is freaking hilarious, man. It is truly one of my favorite piles that we've had. I might just have to be a branded duelist to go play this because that's what I really, really love to see. Next up here, this is going to be basic branded. So this is kind of where you take a step back from like the fancy bells and whistles, and you do get to see, oh, okay, we are side decking the additional Towers monster. As much as you might look at that and go, seems questionable. I will say that the Towers monster does cover a pretty wide range of, matchups. And there has been times where you do want to see that card actually come up. We're also, once again, playing triple of the Dominus in this deck. It's almost like it's pretty good. You've also been noticing in a lot of the developments in the OCG, there have been a lot of triple Droll and Lockbirds at the moment. Droll has really been kind of starting to show its face in the OCG as a little bit of a monster recently. And that's actually kind of an interesting discussion point where you kind of get to see that part of the deck actually kind of starting to become a little bit disturbing. Next up is Archmage. I did not think that we would see, Archmage being kind of one of the central pieces of today's discussion, but it is actually kind of evolving in not necessarily like a good direction, but it's become stable. You also notice we got triple copies of the new Karibo down here. It's almost like, I was wrong about that Karibo. That Karibo is putting in like 9,000% more work than it actually should be. We're also playing the Pendulum treasure in here as well, which we kind of talked about that card a little bit. It became pretty decently hyped in the early stages of the meta with, or when this deck first kind of came out. So I'm not necessarily surprised to see that Archmage is kind of getting ready to evolve, but this deck is going to get some pretty disgusting little play lines in the future. Sorry, Genesis, you can't play Pendulum, so you're not going to get an entire new wave of support. All right, we have, oh god, this is the Clown Crew deck. And in terms of what spicy Clown Crew cards you're playing, just 3 of the Ritual and 2 of the Big Clown. Oh boy, we are really just kind of seeing this deck kind of cutting down on what I would kind of consider as some of the fat within the space here. Now, kind of sadly enough, I feel like the premise of this deck only really works because they have access to Herald and Harmonium, which does immediately give you the key pivot search that you're going to need to kind of get set up for this. But I mean, not every game is going to give you that interaction. It's just a little assister to kind of help you out and kind of allow things to get set up. But I am wondering how the Clown deck is going to actually kind of work in the TCG. In theory, it seems like a cool concept, but whenever we have a cool concept, you know, not necessarily everything is going to fall in line in the dominoes. Next up has been Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi still remains kind of the angry boy in the room. You know, if you noticed, a lot of the Mitsurugi builds have just pushed Harmonium into the side deck. Like, it's, as much as I love Harmonium as a hand trap, I think Mitsurugi just doesn't, there's just not a good real interaction for that card within the current space. I mean, like, synchro decks are going to abuse it because they can, but then you kind of start to explore the different little key points here. I don't know, it starts to get a little bit dicey with that. I don't know, I think it's been the biggest innovation in the deck. It's like, we go to the triple dominant, or the 5 dominus in the main deck, you know, you shift Harmonium into the side deck, kind of consult the Oracle on where you want to go with the rest of the strategy, but usually it's got enough spice to kind of go. Also, WP Fancy Ball is a good card. Next up here, oh boy, how many astrographs can you shove into a deck? That's exactly what this deck has kind of evolved into. I will say, though, getting to see the Charmer Link 4 in action is pretty refreshing. Yeah, they do have the Supreme Starving Venom Dragon, which, you know, I too would love to have a good card such as that, but, you know, we don't necessarily get what we want. We have Exceed and Beyond the Pendulum in here. Electromite just turns this deck on, and I mean, like, we certainly do love Electromite around these parts. I really wish that we could play this, but because of that card's existence, you know, the Pendulum Slop Good Stuff deck, which is just Pendulum Magicians, is back in action. And I mean, who would have guessed, right? 6 astrographs really kind of just help this deck along with its evolution. So you did pretty good, Konami. Next up, we have Hero. You know, Hero did get some new toys, but like, they're more useful against Hero than actually what Hero can do, except for the Saboteur Karibo. Being able to play the Saboteur Karibo in this deck and actually have it do some dirty little things for you has actually been kind of refreshing. Also, 1 Dust Crow, 1 Furnace, 1 Masked Hero Vapor. Most of the stuff that you've got going with this build is actually working out kind of strongly, actually, which I think is fine. Once again, this is one of those decks that we look at and we go, hey, you know, we can play this engine integrated into this engine and it actually works out. You know, you get to play the Aqua Dolphin in here because of the Miracle Contact, which is fine. But all intents and purposes, you did get some support. I'm actually kind of happy to have a Karibo actually helping out the hero player. And then we have, oh boy, Cool Tunes. This has become, I think, probably the most basic of meta decks. Actually, the meta's got so bad that they just shoved the Rose Whip into the main deck. Oh my god. I don't like that. Sure, man. If this is what we have to deal with in the main now, in order to, you know, kind of curve the meta, Sure. I'm not happy about it, as I'm sure most of you aren't either. But what do you guys think about these challengers of the meta? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful face back there in a day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.